Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is my 2019 prediction video for what the major manufacturers in the camera industry are going to do. Well, it's prediction, so I can't say they're going to do it. These are all just things that are popping into my head, and I'm sharing them with you, and maybe we'll look at it at the end of the year and see what I got right and see what I got wrong. Now, let's start with Canon. Now, I think we're going to see one new RF camera. I know there's been a lot of talk about seeing 2 new cameras, like 3 full RF cameras, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. We already have the EOS R. Now, that's 30-some megapixels. If they come out with the next EOS R camera, I think it's going to be the 5D style camera, meaning it's going to be 47, 48, 52 megapixels, something along those lines. And I don't think that leaves any room to release another camera with higher megapixels. I just think it goes way too far. So I don't think you're going to see 2 new EOS R cameras this year. I just think you'll see one in 2019. Now, you are going to see new lenses. We've seen the rumors. There's a bunch of lenses that they're talking about, but I think you'll see more of the Hebrew Trinity, the 24-70, the 70-200. Will they make any more of those faster pieces of glass like the 28-70 f2? Will those be coming? Now, I think you'll see some more 1.4s, possibly some new 1.2s, because they have done a great job with their lenses. I think Canon has done the best job of all the camera manufacturers coming out with dedicated mirrorless lenses for their full frame lineup. Will there be a 5D Mark V? I hope not. I don't think Canon should make a 5D Mark V. I think at this point they should focus on the EOS R lineup and kill the 5D Mark V. But with that being said, I still think they're going to release one. I don't see how they're going to just kill it. I think they should kill it, and I think they know they should kill it, but being how dedicated they are to certain things and staying the course, I don't think they're going to do it, and I think that's going to hurt them. Because if you come out with a camera that's the same price as the EOS R version, why would you end up going with the DSLR? And we've talked about that in past videos. I think they're going to come out with it, though I don't think they should. Will we see a 1DX Mark III at the end of this year? I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to either happen at the end of 2019 or into 2020. You will see a 1DX Mark III. I don't think they're going to go mirrorless on that route just yet, because so many people still feel that for sports that the 1DX series is great. I mean, that is a great camera. The 1DX Mark II is a fantastic camera. I think they will at some point work their way into a mirrorless camera, but that's not till 2020, 2021, something along those lines. I'm throwing that prediction out here right now. What about a 7D Mark III? I mean, is that a dead system also? Are there higher end DSLRs dead? Oh, and if you're wondering, why do I highlight everything on the paper? It makes it easier for me to see. And no, I shouldn't just use neon paper and write on it. Maybe I should. Steven, make a note, neon paper for the future. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I haven't tried it, but I think that would be tough on the eyeballs. But anyway, a 7D Mark III, I think they need to just stop. Focus on the EOS R. I know it's full frame, but a 7D Mark III, the 7D Mark II when it came out was a pretty expensive camera. So you have to take that into consideration when they're, no 7D Mark III. 90D, yes, I think you're going to see new crop sensor digital SLRs. I also think you'll see EOS M50 style, because I think the EOS M50 type of camera, being that it's the mirrorless side, is kind of like the Rebel series. I think they need to rename it the Rebel, the EOS M Rebel. I think that would be better, and I think that the brand recognition would get more people to transition from DSLRs into the mirrorless cameras on the lower end, because the Rebel name has been around for 20-some plus years at this point. So I think that would make sense. But you have to say, does it even make sense to have the EOS 90D at this point? Because it has the same sensor that the M50 line cameras end up having. But I do think they're going to come out with a 90D style camera, and it's probably going to be one of the last DSLRs in that range before they go full mirrorless. They'll still have their lower end Rebel $400, $500 or less cameras. They'll still do that. 6D Mark III? No. I think a 6D Mark III is totally dead, and it's now just time for EOS R and the full frame cameras on that line. So what do you think is going to happen for Canon? I think this is a make or break year for Canon. I think Canon is one of the camera manufacturers that has the most to lose. I think, talking to some of my friends at camera stores, that most of the sales are happening on the Sony and Nikon side, and also Fuji, because a lot of people like their Fuji cameras, and not so much on the new Canon side. Canon really needs to dig in and come out with a revolutionary camera like the 5D Mark II was. They need to kind of do the same thing with the EOS R that comes out that mimics the 5D line of cameras. So again, this is make or break for Canon. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to this. Oh, yeah, and if you want to pick up any of the gear that I'm talking about, well, none of it actually exists. So if you want to pick up any gear, go to adorama.com/fro, because that helps us to continue to make the videos that we will be making through 2019. Now, let's move on to Nikon. I don't think we're going to see any new Z cameras in 2019. They already blew their load, to use a term that is not recognizable in this world because people don't want to hear me say that, but I already said it. They blew their load. They gave you their Z6, they gave you their Z7. That's it for 2019. We'll see new stuff in 2020 from them, but you will see new Z lenses. We know this because of their roadmap. We're going to see the knocked lens. I don't think that anybody should buy a manual focus lens that is that expensive, but hopefully they get out the 24 to 70 2.8, the 70 to 200 2.8, and finally some faster glass that isn't just 1.8 kit lenses. Now the big question is, will they have a D6? And I think the answer is yes, and I have a little frowny face right here. It's a frowny face because I begrudgingly will buy that camera. I don't want to buy that camera. I want to have a professional mirrorless camera that gives me all the functionalities that that gives me and what mirrorless gives me, but I don't think it's ready yet. It's not ready for prime time. And one of the reasons is, from what I've been told, is that Sony will not sell the A9 sensor, the stacked sensor that gives you the 20 frames a second, until they replace the A9 and come out with a second generation. So will Nikon just go ahead and repurpose the A9's sensor? I mean, that would be kind of stupid. It's an older sensor. It's a good sensor. I got good results with that A9, but I don't want a D6. I don't want it. And I get upset every time I look through a DSLR at this point that I can't see my exposure without, just looking at my exposure, and that I can't move the focusing points to wherever I want them. I love what I get from that. But a Z7 and a Z6, though they are kind of professional cameras, for a full-on professional, you don't have a grip, you don't have the 2 card slots. I need that when I'm out there shooting in this world. I want the bigger, better feeling camera with all the security of the 2 card slots, and I want everything, and I want it now. So I'll have to buy a D6. I don't want to. I will sell my D5. Good price. Somebody out there want my D5. It's a great body. I don't think you should ever go mirrorless. I'm just kidding, you should go mirrorless. What about the D760? I'm going to say again, like the video I said about a month ago, is no. No D760. Now, if they do go ahead and announce one of those soon, I'll come back and say, okay, they're coming out with a D760 and we'll have a preview. But I'm just telling you, it would be stupid because it cannot be priced right. Maybe it will have 2 card slots and a grip, which would be great. But if it's still $2,000, they are killing their Z6 camera. It would be stupid of Nikon to do that. So that's why I'm saying no to the D760, and you should say it also. They'll still have their stupid little DSLRs, their D3500, their D3600 that will inevitably come out in their lower end mirrorless cameras. I don't know that you're going to see an APS-C sized sensor mirrorless camera just yet from them, if at all anytime soon. But those are the predictions that I have for Nikon coming forward. I think it's going to be a good year for them. I think the Z7 and the Z6 were great starts. Now it's a matter of getting that good glass out and not getting too stuck on the digital SLR world. They're going to have to kill it. They're going to have to kill it like Canon has to kill it, and like Sony, well, Sony kind of didn't have they did. They had the A99 type camera, but they were smart enough to 5 years ago go the other direction. Now let's talk about Sony. Sony, I think, will have an A7S III, but not until NAB, which is around April. I think you'll see that camera. They really have no competition in the market against that camera. Well, actually, until Panasonic comes out with a camera, but we'll talk about Panasonic predictions in just a minute. So I think you'll see that. The A9 is getting a little old at this point. I think If it does get replaced, it's going to be at the very end of 2019. Maybe it's announced at the end of 2019, and into 2020 they come out with an A9 version 2. Because there's some things in that camera that were actually fixed in the A7R and the A7R3, or the A7R3, that's what I mean when I say that. Like, you don't have to physically change a dial to go from AFC to AFS. You could do that literally with a press of the button inside of the camera. I'm interested to see what they do with the A9 because that is a fantastic camera. If I was a full-time Sony shooter, I would be doing an A9 probably all day long because that is a very good camera. APS-C sized sensor in a new camera? I think you're going to see an A7000. A replacement to the A6500. I don't know much about the A5000 personally. I actually never shot with that camera. That was their super low end. I don't know that they're going to continue on with that path, but I do think you'll see some kind of crop sensor camera from Sony before the end of 2019. And honestly, you'll probably see it in the first couple of months before March of 2019 when that happens. Now that begs the question, will there be an A7R4 and an A7 IV by the end of the year? And I don't think so. I don't think they have much to worry about in the way of the Nikon Z7, the Z6, and the EOS R. I think that the camera that Sony has in some ways is better than the new mirrorless cameras that came out from both of those camera manufacturers. So I think they can sit on that a little longer. I think that's going to come out in 2020. You will see an A7 IV and an A7R IV. I do hope that they do change up the body style just a bit. I hope they make it feel better in the hand, make it a little more substantial, move out the EVF a little further so my nose isn't smushed against the screen, put a better EVF in there, put a better screen on the back of it. I think they're going to get it right because they have no other reason to get it wrong. They've done a great job up to this point, and I think they're going to continue to evolve. Do you think we'll see a new A7R or an A7 IV at some point in 2019? Let me know down below. Now, I think we're going to see some new lenses from them. I don't know what for certain, obviously, because this is all about predictions. Will we see any 1.2 lenses from them? They've talked about how it doesn't really matter. They could make an f1 lens, but it doesn't really matter because it's so expensive and most people don't need it. Will they have a 105 1.4? Do they need it with Sigma and Tamron making lenses natively for their system? I think they do. I think they need to make more native G glass to compete with more so what Canon's doing than what Nikon's doing, but Nikon will have enough glass out in 2019 and 2020 to definitely compete with the lineup that the G Master lenses have. So what will they come out with? I'm not really too sure. What do you guys think they're going to come out with? Again, you can leave those comments down below at any point. Now, before I continue on and get to Panasonic, I am giving away a 70-200 2.8 G2 Tamron lens right now. Head on over to FroKnowsPhoto.com/IWantG2. It is free to enter. All of the rules and instructions are right there. Just watch the quick video. It's about 1:30, and there's 6 different ways that you can get entered to win and get more entries. Now, let's talk about Panasonic. This is the year for Panasonic. They talked about the L-Mount Alliance. Yeah, they talked about that. That's coming. We've got the S1R and we have the S1. How will they do? Because Panasonic kicked ass with the GH5 and the GH5S for when it came to video. Will these new full-frame cameras give you what the GH5 was giving you, but in a full-frame body and the ability to shoot stills? How will stills be? Because are stills going to be good? I do want to do some real-world reviews of just stills with these cameras because they're saying that one of them's like a hybrid shooter. It's great for video, it's great for stills, but only I will be able to determine that. Only me. Nobody else in this world will be able to determine if that camera's worthwhile. That's not actually true. Other people will try, but I will also try to do the same thing. I'm interested to see what happens here. I just think right off the bat, some of the hardest things are going to be getting glass. Will there be enough L-Mount Alliance lenses to put on the front of these cameras? Time will tell. I don't think 2019 will be strong for these cameras. I think as you get into 2020, that's when you're going to start to see more people possibly adopting it. I can't see too many people adopting it, but I said the same thing about Sony all those years ago. I don't think it's going to happen with Panasonic. I really don't. I don't. Tell me if I'm wrong. Fight me. Do something. Let me know. Are you a Panasonic diehard fan? Are you an L-Mount Alliance fan? leave it down below. Fuji. We can't leave Fuji out. We'll probably see a full-frame camera never. So don't ask. I don't think they're going to do it. If they do it, I would be surprised if they do it because they skipped full frame. They went to medium format. They have their new medium format camera coming out. Will we see an XH2, which I won't be doing a real world review of? I don't know. I think they're due for it. They've done a fantastic job with their cameras. So just think that Fuji's going to continue on doing what they're doing and doing it well, doing it and doing it and doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it. Well, that's a good song. So that's what I have to say about Fuji. And to wrap this up, a non-camera company, even though actually, let me correct myself, they are a camera company. Apple is a camera company because more people take pictures every day with iPhones than with any other phone. What are we going to see from Apple? This is the year of the Mac Pro redo. The tower that we can upgrade and pop cards out and put new cards in. I'm excited for a Mac Pro tower so that we can get the guys powering through videos more so than just with the iMac Pro, which is a great computer, but it has a built-in monitor, a built-in display, which it's not upgradable. Still a great computer, but I think you're also going to see new cinema displays. And for cinema displays, I'm hoping for a 32-inch display. No more 27 inches. I'm using a BenQ 31.5-inch monitor right here. That I love. Steven edits on that monitor. Dan edits on that monitor. But if I do get a cinema display from Apple that's 32 inches, I would love to. It's going to be expensive. Apple, will you send me one, please? Pretty please with a cherry on top. It would be really nice, but we'll probably end up buying it anyway because it's good for business, for our business, to get the editing out there, and I hope those screens are really good. That's it, guys. Those are my predictions. What did I get right? We don't know until it happens. What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong? Is there anything else I need to add to this, Steven? Yes or no? No. No. Steven says no. He doesn't like when I talk to him off camera. He's like, nobody knows who I am. But go follow Steven S_Eckert on Instagram, because then you can see his photos. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? This is going to be a fun 2019 with a lot of new camera gear coming. I hope I got most of it right. I'm really interested to see what happens, and I know you guys are as well. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget about that contest that's going on because you can win that lens. It ends on January 31st, and I thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your continued support, and let me know what you think down below. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.